Hey guys, I wanted to come on here to answer a very cool question that I received. Am I on a ketogenic diet? Now I don't know why that person thought I was on a ketogenic diet because I don't actually eat a lot of fats, but I don't have a lot of starches in my diet. So I'm gonna just bring it up a little bit. First of all, what is a ketogenic diet? So a ketogenic diet is a diet that is really high in fat, and so the main source of energy comes from fat and not from carbohydrates or glucose. And our body loves using glucose as a source of energy. When we are switching to ketones, though, we are burning fat. Now, with the diet, with the ketogenic diet, the amount of fat that people intake from that is really, really high. On top of oils and nuts and seeds, they also add a lot of animal products. Animal products are very high in amino acids, which we always bulk in as protein. And so protein is actually converted into glucose for use of energy, not just carbohydrates. So it's not actually just fats. Now, fats, of course, keep your glucose levels stable, or your insulin levels stable, I should say. And so you don't see these very popular spikes. Now, going back to spikes though, metabolically, a spike when you eat food is completely normal. It means your body is doing its job. Your body is getting food in, some of it will be glucose, so it goes in the blood, the sugar goes up, and then the pancreas releases insulin, which is a hormone which goes to the cell and knocks at the cell's door and say, can you please open up? I have glucose for you. The glucose goes into the cell and the mitochondria will use it to make ATP. So this is the way that it works. So it's not actually uncommon, it's not abnormal to have spikes when we eat. Now, if your sugar stays really high for a very long time, that means that the glucose is not getting into the cell. When that is happening, the problem is not the sugar, the problem is that the cell is full of fat. So it's like having chewing gum into your door lock and you can't put the key in to open up. And this is the misconception a lot of people, even in the diabetes world, kind of understand, are confused by. What happens is, I think, if you're eating fat and you don't see a spike in your glucose, you're doing yourself a favor. But actually, that is not necessarily the truth, because you're still not sorting the issue, which is insulin resistance. So I don't want to talk about a metabolic disease here in terms of diabetes in this little short video, but I want to go back to the ketogenic diet. So a ketogenic diet is that, right? So they look at no spikes, at having energy from fats, and it became really, really popular. Now, you might say, well, people did lose weight and they look great. Yes, because on that diet, like most popular diets, what happens is you remove the junk. If you're removing the junk, then you are going to lose weight. You're removing processed foods, candies, refined sugars, and so on. You are going to see a metabolic switch. You're going to lose weight. You're going to see that your body is able to utilize the food you put in as energy, and it's pure energy and it's real food. So of course you're going to see a knock-on effect that is really, really positive. That doesn't mean that the diet is long-term positive. Now, a ketogenic diet has been proven to be really, really beneficial for the brain in some conditions like ADHD, or for people that have autism, like kids, because they can get on these massive highs with sugar. But again, what are they eating? There's a difference between eating your vegetables and fruit and eating starches, even if it's like bread and pasta and like more refined starches. Even if it's whole grain, it's still refined. So you have to kind of balance out, what are we eating? So the approach that I take when it comes to hormone balancing and the diet that I have, it has some elements of ketogenic in the sense that, yes, I will add a little bit more seeds in the morning as fat to balance out my hormones and give myself like really good protein and also omega-3 fatty acids, which my body needs, and fiber. So I don't shy away from fruit. But understanding the characters of our hormones as women is really, really important. So there are some hormones, sometimes in the month, where we have to do the dance between estrogen and progesterone. We have to understand the character here. Now, the week before our period, progesterone needs to go a little bit higher. Progesterone loves a little bit of sugar. She loves to have insulin because she loves glucose. So in that week, in those days, we are going to be adding whole foods that are more starchy. I'm talking sweet potatoes, I'm talking bananas, mangoes, papaya, the most starchy fruit and veggies. I'm not talking bread. Even if it's a sourdough, I know, guys, I know. I gave it up a few years ago. Do I miss it? Actually, don't now, but I know that at the time it's addictive. It was delicious, but I feel better without. My body feels better without. My hormones are happier, so I'm gonna listen. Now, when we are from day 2 of our cycle starting, you can start actually bringing down the glucose so that your estrogen is happier and you're starting to balance out again. Then you get to ovulation and you might upper again those fruits and veggies that are more starchy, and then go back down to a more ketobiotic, I guess Dr. Peltz calls it. She's actually very good. But the problem with her that I have is that she doesn't cater for a plant-based diet audience at all. And as a vegan, I have no interest in eating animal products. I have no interest on killing animals. And I want to find a way to balance my hormones by using plants, which I do. So my specialty is that. But her teachings are very important. I listen to her videos, it makes sense, and then I just have to go back to the science and look at how do we translate the requirements nutritionally from an animal-based diet to a plant-based diet. And it works because I've lost weight, I look younger, I feel good. Now, do I always get it right? So actually, the interesting thing is I don't feel like I can control my hormones when I do cleanses with herbs, because the herbs are affecting my endocrine system. Because I usually do a herb that will work on reproductive, endocrine, pituitary, and very powerful. And Vitex is one of the main ingredients. Vitex is a herb, chestberry. It's a plant, it's a berry actually, that is powerful for hormones. Powerful, but it works really, really well, but it can bring the body out of whack a little bit. And I have noticed that if I take that, I can't actually even follow the shifts in diet. I really have to stay on a very low starch diet, because that will raise my estrogen, and estrogen doesn't like glucose. So you have to play around with these things, and it took me a couple of trials to actually understand that, because for over a month I just felt awful, bloated. But equally I felt like it was working, and now that I'm out of that slump, I feel great. So but the approach works. Like, I really have been feeling and seeing the improvements, and I'm so proud, because it's just testament that food is medicine, if we understand how to actually use it. I feel that it's really important also to take the time to listen to our body and understand our digestive system. And one of the problems I have with the ketogenic diet or any other carnivore diet or animal-based diet is that they promote this lack of fiber. Fiber is super important because it's the food that our bacteria eats, so it's the prebiotic. And fiber allows us to actually even keep our glucose levels in check. It allows us to have a different microbiome population with different strains, and our body needs that. So the more variety you have in your gut, the healthier you're going to be. So we have to actually understand these things, because this push for no fiber, and it comes from people that maybe felt better by removing the fiber, people that have IBS, or maybe they have colitis. If you have this problem, the problem is not the fiber per se, it's the fact that you have dysbiosis, your gut is not healthy. So what to do in those cases? Well, you approach it with a rehabilitation program, which means you might do an elimination diet, which is what actually these diets are all about, like the ketogenic, the carnivore, they're all elimination diets. And then very, very slowly you start adding in the starches. When I say slowly, is that for things that are very starchy and that are more hardy, like the broccoli, the cauliflowers, the beans, the pulses, you need to take it easy. You just go a little bit at a time in there, and that's okay, because the body will be okay with it. If you are then slowly inserting these foods, you'll see your digestive system will get used to it, and you can eat a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then you'll have a normal digestive system. This can take months. Not gonna lie to you, it's not something you do in a couple of weeks. It can really take a long time, depending on the severity of your case. But don't start promoting this craziness that fiber is bad and beans are bad because they give you gas. They give you gas because your digestive system is not used to having it, or is not used to dealing with so much fiber. So you have to take it easy, okay? So ketogenic diet, no, I'm not on a ketogenic diet, but I am definitely on a high fiber diet. So high carbs, actually, medium protein from plants. So tofu, beans, mostly tofu, I'll be honest, because I just find it nicer. I love tofu. I do take the New Zest protein powders because I find them to be the easiest to digest. I do have some Warrior, but when I compare the two, the New Zest is much better. It also doesn't have stevia, so it doesn't have that aftertaste. I love their Good Green Vitality, as you know. It's a full-on, honestly, it's a full-on, like a supplement. It's amazing. It's got everything in it. Every day I take my chlorella and my spirulina. I take ashwagandha. I take maca. I take lucuma. I take some white carob from Peru. I use sometimes some normal carob, dark carob from Europe, from Portugal actually. So I just balance it out and play around with it. And I love it because we have so many choices. We don't have to restrict ourselves. Do I drink coffee? Yes, a little bit of coffee. Because I love the taste. I can go without coffee. I just love the taste. It's comforting. So I could have a decaf and be just the same. I also like having cevada, which is like barley. But I don't have it as much because I find it quite heavy, intense. So I don't drink it as much. But I really enjoy these drinks, and they are really nice, and if my body's okay with it, why not? So this is really what I wanted to answer to the question if I am on a ketogenic diet. The short answer is no, but there are some things that I like about adding more fats from like omega-3 fatty acids, and they are important. And I eat avocado. I also don't use oils, by the way. No oil for me. I reverse diabetes on a whole food plant-based diet, high carbs, low fat, and I really feel that it works for me. And I don't use oils because there's no fiber in it. They're just fat, and 120 calories for a tablespoon of olive oil is not actually worth it. I'd rather eat more salads and have like amazing amount of food and feel full, and just abundant rather than like restrictive, because I don't want to fall into that trap of having small meals. And I also like to eat twice a day, and it's breakfast and lunch and dinner around 3 o'clock. Sometimes it's a little later, like yesterday I had to eat around 6, but it's okay. And then I just broke the fast this morning at 9, so I still got in 15 hours. But I like that approach because it just makes me feel like I have the time to fast. And by the way, fasting longer than 8 hours, in fact, ideally 12, takes you into ketogenic mode. So you're switching from using carbs to using fat. So again, you don't have to have a ketogenic diet that is high in fat, because you can have the same effects of a ketogenic diet by fasting. So I prefer that. All right, I hope this was helpful. If you have more questions, plug them in and I'll just answer. Bye.